Good morning. Hey, we said that pretty good. So today we wanted to talk to you about emotions. How do you process them? What's more important than your emotions and the way you feel? As you can tell, we're in a golf course right now. We actually live here, and so we walk here. We drive here and we walk around after our morning workout, do our affirmations and things like that. So today, what was coming up for us is the conversation about emotions. What do we want to talk about emotions? How do people process emotions? We have kind of a life event coming up on Wednesday. What is our life event?
Our son is going off to college, and I'm going to start crying again.
Don't say the crying
I'm dealing
thing.
with it. I'm dealing.
Yeah, we're dealing. So we're not dressed up. I haven't showered. I haven't shaven. She doesn't have sunglasses. We just want to be really authentic with you. So how do you deal with your emotions, like I asked on that 1-minute video? I don't know about you, but I tend to stuff my emotions. What do you do with yours? Either I stuff or I tend to explode right then and there. I tend to get my emotions going. I tend to get everything within me. My blood pressure starts to go up. I can feel kind of the hairs on my back going up because I'm about to say something I'm going to later regret. So I either stuff them or I explode on the moment. I let somebody get the best of me or push a button or a trigger.
Well, and I think that's what most people do. They do stuff or they explode. And depending on the situation.
What do you do?
I do both. I stuff and I stuff and I stuff until you get me over the ledge, and then all hell breaks loose, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll just explode because I'm dealing with stresses in life, and I just can't take one more thing from one other person, and you're gonna get my 2 cents at that moment.
Some people actually use their emotions to compete with one another. You think you have it bad. Look at me, I had it bad. I used to do that as a kid. Oh my gosh, you think you have a bad life? I was sexually abused. Look at the way I grew up. I grew up with no dad. My mom left for a while. I mean, let me tell you about how my life was. People use their emotions to compete. They stuff them, or they just immediately explode with them. What are some other ways that people deal with them? What if they completely ignore them, not stuff them? I think sometimes people stuff them because they're too busy. Like for you, when you're busy and you're in task-minded mode, not to point my finger at you, but when you're in task-minded mode, you're going to stuff everything because no matter what happens, I don't care if it's eating or drinking, you're not going to do it until that task is done. So it's a stuffing mechanism that sometimes people are like, I'm just not going to deal with this, either because I don't want to deal with it with you. But then there are some people who repress those emotions purposely. In other words, they don't want to deal with emotions at all, ever.
Denial.
So we're going to take those. Oh, that's a good one. That's another category. We're going to take those emotions and we're going to suppress and stuff and never deal with them. And then you have, I guess they had a hole in one, I don't know. And then you have the people who you just said, who never deal with them. People who, no matter what happens, they're not stuffing for later. I was going to say consumption or release. They're just stuffing permanently. Right. There are people like that who deal with it from the perspective of, I'm never going to deal with this emotion. So what's more important than how you feel? You're coming up on Wednesday. We're coming up on a Wednesday, this Wednesday specifically, where we're dropping off our son. I mean, that brings tears to your eyes in a way.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to be talking over the next few weeks about what else could this mean. Well, let me ask you this. I thought of something last night because we were together as a family and had Liana over. I think I'm saying her name right again. Liana, Jared's girlfriend. And we were sitting around dinner, and all of a sudden this idea popped in my mind. And I said, it could be worse. And people looked at me, right? You and Maddie and Jared, and because Jared's starting to feel a little homesick. He hasn't even left yet. And I said, you could be in the military. We could not know where you are or see you for a year. All of a sudden, people started feeling really good. Yeah. Oh my gosh, you're right.
And it could be worse. He could be going to a completely different state where he is in state. He's just going to be a couple hours away. So
without telling you, we're demonstrating, not that we know all the answers. We purposely look this way because we're not here to tell you how smart or how wonderful or how awesome we are and how much we figured out. That's not ever us. If you know us at all, we're here with you. We're in the trenches. We're living life. We're figuring this thing out day by day too. And when we get a little nugget, we just want to like share it. But let me tell you, we have our fair share of struggles. So we're demonstrating one way of dealing with your emotions. What is that? What is good in this situation? I.e., or the antithesis to it is what could be worse?
What could be worse?
I mean, right?
Yeah.
And then what else could this mean? Here's another idea. What else could this mean? Well, it means that we did our job as parents and that he's progressing into the ladder of, well, societal success or evolution of success, or he's moving on. What if he lived in our basement? We don't have a basement, but that's the theoretical way. How would you feel about that if he just lived in our basement right now and had no aspirations for school, didn't graduate high school?
We would be frustrated. Yeah, absolutely. So,
Okay.
yeah, you got to evaluate the emotions.
So it could be
that are-
worse. So I'm going to remind her about this on Wednesday afternoon or Thursday when we're
could be
driving
worse.
home. And she's like, oh my God. And because we're going over there to drop him off, I'll remind her about some of these things. But really and truly, today is just the conversation of asking you, how do you deal with your emotions? Do you stuff them? Do you ignore them? Do you deal with them? Do you deal with them in a moment? When's the best time to deal with emotions?
Not in the moment.
There's something we learned in a course we took years ago. It is out of anger. So can you explain that?
So stepping back and reflecting and then evaluating those emotions. So that's something that we're going to get into is how do we evaluate those emotions? And because emotions are good for you. And we need to...
All emotions are good for you and they serve you. Yep, sorry.
No, so
You said they're good for you. They're like your vegetables. Eat them.
Eat them, right? Get the greens. No, so they're good for you, but we use those emotions wrongly a lot of times, and so we need to be able to learn to process those emotions effectively. So we're going to go through how to do that. I mean, we've been married and together 30 years, and we've learned a few things here or there.
We've learned a few things,
we just want to be able to impart that into you guys
From a marriage
and,
perspective,
in relationship, and help you through some of those struggles so you don't have to go through those.
We're going to talk more about this, but emotions are there to serve you. What Shannon means by saying they're good for you is emotions sometimes can happen to you as a result of what something or some situation is happening exterior to you, but then you interiorize them or you take them inside and you allow them to represent that, right? Again, we're just staying on topic, which is what do you deal with your emotions? But if you're not careful, those emotions can do you harm because you allow the emotion of fear, anger, anxiety, stress, depression, sadness, loneliness, you name it, to just govern your life. And yet, really, that emotion is there to serve you. Next week, we're going to talk about how do you break that emotion down, dissect it, and what is the good? What's the vegetable part that we need, and what's the bad stuff that we can do without? But emotions are there for you, not against you. They're your friend, not your enemy. You were going to say something.
And if you think about something, emotions would not exist if there wasn't anybody else around, right? So you don't have...
What about dinosaurs back in that day?
Well... You wouldn't have the emotions if you didn't have somebody triggering an
Why
emotion.
are you pointing at me?
So, we have to learn how to deal with the exterior, the individual who is not intentionally, but putting that emotion or reflecting that to you.
I like how you're going over the, I don't know what that was.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
So I'm...
Is that like a little duck or something that we're seeing around here? All right.
Anyway, so it's, we have to learn how to deal with our exteriors in order to deal with the emotion.
Interior, what's inside, what you're feeling. We demonstrated today, one of the things I like to do, what else could this mean? Could it be worse? And so how could it be worse? And in that, you feel really good about, you know what, we have this pretty good. But dealing with that emotion, I think today's conversation is just having that reality. How do you deal? Stop for a minute. What's more important? How do you deal with your emotions, and how is it serving you? How's that working out for you? Those people who repress or stuff and then explode. It's not working out real well. Probably.
Right.
We've done them all, by the way, and we tend to do too. So if I'm not careful, I have to really control those kind of conversations. All right, good. Anything else? It's already been like 10 minutes. We don't need a timer. See, there's a timer right there. Shannon's like, hey, let's have a timer. And I'm
So we
like,
have one
okay.
right
So we
there.
have like a timer there, and we don't really have a timer. But anyway, post your comments, get in touch with us. Next week, we're going to actually take this to the next level, and then we'll talk about that in relation to marriage, finance, business, and really dissect each and every emotion. I'm super excited about it because I have to have emotions every single day, every single hour, so I might as well learn to master them.
Well, we live with emotions, and so
Yeah.
we need to learn how to deal with them in
I
the
live
right
with
way.
emotions. I live with emotions.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. All right. Well, you guys have a great day. Anything else we want to say? Yeah. Okay. We're going to go
Awesome.
home and shower and shave and do all that kind of stuff. See you
Start our
soon.
day.
Yeah.